Imagine this. A quiet Saturday morning in a small-town ice cream parlor. 6 massive Hell's Angels walk in, leather, tattoos, the whole room goes silent. Everyone stares, everyone whispers, except one person. An 8-year-old little girl eating a chocolate sundae. She looks up, and what she notices next saves the life of the toughest biker in the room. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes you're gonna discover how the smallest voice can become the loudest warning, and why this story still makes grown men tear up years later. The Saturday morning sun filtered through the windows of Miller's ice cream parlor, casting cheerful stripes of light across the checkerboard floor. The sweet smell of waffle cones mixed with fresh coffee, making people stay longer over their sundaes and their chats. Kids laughed from the corner booth where a birthday party was ending. Balloons touching the ceiling, sticky fingers holding half-melted cones. Behind the counter, old Mrs. Miller wiped the marble top with calm, practiced moves, her kind eyes watching the Saturday crowd with a smile. This shop had been in her family for 3 generations. She knew every regular by name, every favorite flavor by heart. This was her little kingdom, a safe place full of sweetness in a world that sometimes felt too rough. Among the customers that morning sat a group that usually made people nervous. 6 Hell's Angels took up a big table near the window, their leather vests covered with the famous death head patch. Their motorcycles parked in a shiny row outside. They were a scary sight, these men, weathered faces, tattooed arms. But Mrs. Miller knew they were good customers, paid well, tipped big, and never started trouble in her shop. At a small table nearby sat 8-year-old Emma Chin. Her dark hair was in a ponytail, her favorite purple dress already dotted with ice cream stains from her enthusiastic attack on a chocolate sundae. She was there with her grandmother, who had stepped away to the restroom, leaving Emma to finish her treat and watch people, one of her favorite things to do. Emma was the kind of kid adults called too smart for her own good. She noticed things others missed, little details, patterns. Teachers said gifted. Grandma said nosy. Emma just thought everyone saw the world the way she did. Her eyes kept going back to the bikers, not because she was afraid, but because she was curious. She had seen them before, had even waved once at the huge man who always sat at the head of the table. His name was Axel. She had heard the others call him that. He was the president of the Desert Riders chapter. A man whose word was law among his brothers. A man who made people show respect and keep their distance. But today, something was different about Axel. Emma couldn't explain it at first, but she kept looking. He sat in his usual spot, his huge body filling the chair. But his face looked red and sweaty. He kept moving in his seat like he was uncomfortable. The other bikers were laughing, talking loud about rides and bike repairs. But Axel was quiet. He barely spoke, just gave short answers. And he kept rubbing his right forearm like it hurt. Then she saw it. When Axel reached for his water glass, his sleeve moved up a little. Emma froze, her spoon halfway to her mouth. Running up from his wrist toward his elbow was a bright red streak, like someone had drawn a thick red line on his skin. Around a small cut near his wrist, the skin was swollen, purple-red, spreading out in a way that looked wrong, dangerous. Emma's grandmother was a nurse. Emma had spent hours listening to medical stories, looking at pictures in nursing books at Grandma's house. She remembered one night clearly. Grandma had shown her photos of infections and said, "If you ever see red streaks going up an arm or leg like this, that's an emergency. It means bacteria is moving through the body fast. It can cause sepsis. People can die if it's not treated right away." That picture was burned into Emma's mind. And now, looking at Axel's arm, her heart started racing. The red streak was exactly the same. The swelling, the color, everything matched. And Axel looked sick, really sick. His face was too red, sweat on his forehead even with the air conditioning on. He moved slow, like every move hurt. Grandma had taught her those were signs the infection was already in the blood. Emma looked around. Grandma still wasn't back. Mrs. Miller was busy behind the counter. The other bikers hadn't noticed a thing. They were laughing, talking, completely blind to their leader getting sicker by the minute. She knew the rules. Little kids don't walk up to tables full of Hell's Angels. Kids don't interrupt grown-ups, especially scary grown-ups with tattoos and leather. Her mom always said, "Be polite, wait your turn, never make a scene." But Grandma's voice was louder in her head. Sepsis can kill in hours. If you see these signs, speak up right now. Always. Emma made her choice. She slid out of her chair and walked toward the biker's table. Her small hands clasped together, purple dress swishing around her knees. Her legs felt shaky, but she kept going. The closer she got, the bigger the men looked, their voices like thunder. "Excuse me," Emma said, her voice small but clear. The table went dead quiet. 6 pairs of eyes turned to her, surprise, confusion, a little amusement. A tiny girl with ice cream on her face standing in front of men twice her size. "Hey there, sweetheart," one biker with a gray beard and kind eyes said. "You lost?" "No, sir," Emma answered, stronger now. "But I think he needs to go to the hospital right now." She pointed straight at Axel. "There's a red line going up his arm from that cut on his wrist. My grandma is a nurse. She told me that means the infection is spreading to his heart. It's called lymphangitis, and he looks really sick, like he has a bad fever." The words dropped like rocks in still water. Every biker stared at her, then at Axel, then back at her. The younger biker with a shaved head and a scar on his cheek leaned forward. "Let me see your arm, boss." Axel, confused and a little annoyed, pushed up his sleeve. And there it was. Exactly like Emma said. An angry red streak running up his forearm from a swollen, ugly wound near his wrist. The skin around it looked hot, purple-red, badly infected. "Jesus Christ, Axel," the gray-bearded biker breathed. "How long has that been like that?" "Cut myself on the bike a couple days ago," Axel muttered, voice rough and tired. "It's fine. Just a scratch." "That's not fine," Emma said, stepping closer even though she was scared. "My grandma showed me pictures. That red line means the bacteria is moving fast through your body. You're all sweaty and red. That means it might already be in your blood. People die from that." The gray-bearded biker, Diesel, touched the skin near the streak. "Brother, you're burning up. Your skin is hot as hell." "I'm fine," Axel said, but his voice was weak. "No, you're not," Diesel snapped. The joking was gone. "Only worry now. When did you start feeling bad?" "This morning," Axel admitted. "Woke up with chills. Felt dizzy. But I wasn't gonna miss the ride." "You stubborn idiot," Diesel said under his breath. He looked at Emma, eyes wide. "How old are you, kid?" 8. 8 years old, and you just spotted blood poisoning we all missed." He shook his head in wonder. "Where's your grandma?" "She's a nurse," Emma said. "She taught me. She said red streaks are an emergency." Mrs. Miller came running over. "What's going on?" "This little girl just saved Axel's life," Diesel said. "We gotta get him to the ER now." "I'll call 911, Mrs. Miller said. "No time," Diesel answered. "We ride. It's faster." The bikers moved like soldiers. They helped Axel stand, gentle even though he was huge. He looked worse on his feet, pale under the fever, moving slow. Before they left, Diesel knelt down to Emma's level. Up close he looked even scarier, but his eyes were soft. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Emma. Emma Chin." "Emma," he repeated. "You might have just saved this man's life. If we waited a few more hours." He didn't finish. "Is he going to be okay?" Emma asked, voice tiny. "Because of you, he's got a real chance," Diesel said. "We're getting him the medicine he needs." Emma's grandmother came back right then, saw everything, heard the story. Her eyes went wide when she saw Axel's arm. "You did exactly right, baby," she whispered, hugging Emma tight. "That's lymphangitis. You saved him." The next days were hard for Emma. She asked every day if Axel was okay. Grandma made calls and found out Axel was in the hospital with a bad staph infection in his blood. Strong antibiotics through in 4 days of treatment. If he had waited just a few more hours, Grandma told her, he could have gone into septic shock. You absolutely saved his life, honey. 2 weeks later, Saturday morning again. The deep rumble of motorcycles filled the street. Emma looked up from her strawberry cone. 6 bikes pulled in. And from the lead bike stepped Axel, moving careful but strong. Color back in his face, thick bandage on his arm, but alive. He saw Emma through the window and smiled, a real, warm smile. The bikers walked in. The whole parlor went quiet. Axel walked straight to Emma's table and sat down across from her, wincing a little from the bandage. For a long moment he just looked at her. Emma, he said, voice thick with feeling. Thank you? 2 words, but they carried everything. Thank you for seeing what we missed. Thank you for being brave. Thank you for giving me more years to live. Are you okay now? Emma asked. I am because of you, Axel said. Bad staph infection. Got into my blood. I was hours away from septic shock. Doctors said another 4 or 5 hours. I might not have made it. I just remembered what Grandma taught me about the red streaks, Emma said quietly. Your grandma taught you well. He reached into his vest and pulled out a small leather patch. Beautifully stitched, angel wings with a single letter E in the middle. This is for you. In our club we give patches to people who earn them. This one is special. It means you're under Desert Rider's protection forever. Emma took it with shaking hands. I can sew it on my backpack, she whispered. You do that, Axel said. And anytime you need anything you come find us. You're family now. Diesel added. We don't forget, Emma. You saw what we didn't. You spoke when it was scary. That's real courage. In the months that followed, Emma became a legend in town. The little girl in the purple dress who saved the Hells Angels president. She stayed the same, curious, kind, observant, wearing her patch proud on her backpack. Every time the Desert Riders rode through town they honked loud. A thunder salute to their smallest sister. Axel started carrying antibiotic cream, cleaning every cut. Teaching his brothers to do the same, laughing when they teased him. He visited Emma every Saturday at Miller's, bringing road stories and lessons wrapped in rough jokes. Always talking about paying attention, trusting your gut, speaking up even when your voice shakes. The bikers showed up at her school career day. Talked about bikes, and about watching for infection. They held charity rides that paid for first aid classes in the community, all in Emma's name. Mrs. Miller hung a photo on the wall, Axel and Emma holding ice cream, smiling. His bandaged arm on the table. Under it a plaque. Heroes come in all sizes. Emma Chin, age 8, saved a life by paying attention. Years later, when Emma walked across the stage to get her medical school diploma, specializing in emergency medicine, the entire Desert Riders chapter was there. Axel, now in his 60s, scar faded on his forearm, sat front row. When her name was called, every biker stood and cheered so loud the room shook. Because they never forgot the 8-year-old girl who saw the red streaks. Who spoke up when silence would have killed their leader. Who saved a life with nothing but sharp eyes and pure courage. Emma kept that worn leather patch in her office, next to a photo of the bacteria that started it all. A daily reminder that heroism isn't about being big or loud or fearless. It's about seeing what needs to be done, and doing it. Even when you're small. Even when you're scared. Even when no one else is looking. So tell me in the comments. Have you ever noticed something important that everyone else missed? Would you have had the courage to walk up to that table? Drop your story below, hit that like button if this touched you. Share it with someone who needs to hear that the smallest person can make the biggest difference. And subscribe for more true stories that prove heroes really do come in all sizes.